Hello, I'm Brian with glutenfreehomebrewing.com. Today we're going to do kind of a last-minute video blog. We haven't done a video blog for about a month, and we had some things we wanted to follow up on, specifically the stainless steel mesh screen that we're going to use in our grain basket. We did just get around to getting that out of the box that it was shipped into us, and unfortunately the stainless steel mesh screens were cut a little bit too large. We didn't notice that. We've had them on our shelf for at least a month, but just haven't gotten around to it until today. So we're not going to be able to test that out. Fortunately, they're cut too large and not too small, so we can trim off the extra and test that next time. We really wanted to use one of the larger micron mesh screens today, but that will have to wait. The other thing that we got was the HotRod stick. It's a heating element that is really popular with the Grainfather users. You don't have to drill a hole through the Grainfather, which conventionally would be your boil kettle, but since this is an all-in-one unit, you'd have to drill through the Grainfather. So this avoids that. It has this little mechanism right here that allows you to drop it in and hook onto the same mechanism that would hold up the grain basket. These are very popular with Grainfather users. It achieves a much faster boil and or getting to your strike temperature faster, and it also maintains a more rolling boil. That's probably the one most consistent feedback we've heard or read about or experienced ourselves, is just the rolling boil is a little lacking with the element built into the Grainfather. You can plug this unit directly into electrical system and then use the Grainfather Connect to control the temperature, or you can buy an external control box. This one sells for about $155, I believe. They cost a little bit more, cost a little less, depending on the system that you get. We were fortunate to have some extra equipment laying around that a friend of ours was interested in, and we did an outright trade for it. So thank you. And we're going to give this a try today. So we're going to come back in a moment and probably just focus on the HotRod stick today and do the comparison of the larger micron stainless steel mesh screens in a future video blog. Alright, so I'll see you in a second. So here you can see the HotRod stick is attached to one of the bars that the grain basket secures to or sits on when it's out of the boiler body. The element is in the center of the boiler body. It's not touching any of the sides, it's not touching the filter, and it's a little bit of distance from the temperature probe. As you can see, the additional element on the HotRod heat element is bringing the strike water up to the target temperature very quickly. You want to remove the element to insert the grain basket, but what you don't want to do is remove the hot rod and introduce it to ambient air temperature without reducing the heat source, essentially turning it off before you get to the target temperature. That's referred to as dry firing, and it can cause damage to the element and is not covered by warranty. So before you get to the target temperature, whether it's your strike water or conclusion of your boil, you're going to want to make sure that you turn the external element, the HotRod element, off, and just defer back to the Grainfather heating elements at that point. That will ensure that you don't cause any damage to the HotRod heating element. Before we mash out, we wanted to take a second to look at the mash recirculating. It is crystal clear. This is the 500 micron stainless steel mesh screen. Again, we wanted to try out one of our other screens, but we're going to have to trim those guys down a little bit. But we just want to take a quick second and show you how clear that wort is circulating through the pump. As you can see, we're achieving our hot break and getting to a rolling boil. This is already by far the best boil that we've had using the Grainfather so far, and that's using the HotRod Heat Stick. And here you can see we've achieved a vigorous rolling boil. We're still playing around with the settings and kind of taking notes of what's working and what's not working. And this is the first time we've used this setup, but so far we've been able to achieve a much more vigorous boil than what we were able to achieve without the HotRod Heat Stick. So first impressions, we really like it. We'll continue to work with it and change things around as far as the settings until we get it to exactly where we like it. But so far, we really like this setup. Well, thank you for joining us at this very last minute brew session today. Today we've worked with the HotRod Heat Stick, which we really like. We definitely recommend considering this as an option if you're using the Grainfather, or if you're just having difficulty achieving a boil in general. We didn't get a chance to play around with the larger microns stainless steel mesh screens, but we'll definitely do that next time and follow up with you as well with those. We just need to trim those down a little bit, and we'll report our findings on that as well. So again, Brian with glutenfreehomebrewing.com, and I'll catch you at our next brew session.